After joining the Galactic Concord, humanity did not show off its technology. They did not join in wars or try to gain power. While other species built massive fleets and fought for territory, Earth stayed inside its own solar system. They followed every rule, signed every agreement, and avoided attention. At first, the galaxy was curious. Some thought the humans were planning something. Others believed Earth had a secret weapon. But as years passed and nothing happened, most lost interest. The Orcs Dominion, a powerful empire from the edge of the galaxy, had grown used to pushing others around. They controlled dozens of systems and were feared by many. To them, humans looked weak, slow, unimportant. The Orcs leaders saw Earth's silence as surrender. They did not understand. When the Dominion decided to expand its borders again, they looked toward Earth's space. A small human research station orbited Pluto. It was peaceful, focused on ice studies and deep space readings. It had no weapons. The Orcs sent 5 scout ships to fly near it. Their goal was simple: watch, scan, and see how Earth would react. The scouts entered the edge of human space and moved quietly toward Pluto. Earth responded immediately. A single transmission was sent to the Orcs ships. "You have entered protected space. Turn around." The message was not loud, not angry, just clear. The Orcs scouts ignored it. They laughed among themselves and kept going. Their sensors scanned the research station and found nothing dangerous. They reported back that the humans were harmless. Then, the signal cut off. Not just one ship, all 5. No sound, no warning, just silence. Orcs command waited. Hours passed. Then a full day. Still nothing. The ships did not return. Their tracking systems showed them frozen, floating near Pluto, but unresponsive. The Orcs tried to send drones to retrieve the ships, but something stopped them at the edge of the solar system. The drones simply lost power and drifted away. Inside the Concord, few cared about the event. Some said it was an accident. Others believed the Orcs were testing new weapons and had failed. Only a few quiet voices asked, "What if Earth did this?" But the galaxy did not listen. Earth, as always, said nothing more. They sent no message, made no announcement, and offered no excuse. They continued their peaceful research as if nothing had happened. The research station remained in orbit. New scientists arrived. Life continued. The Orcs, angry and confused, held back. They sent spies to gather more data on Earth. What they found was strange. Humans were active across their solar system. They had colonies on Mars, moons around Jupiter, and deep mines on asteroids. But there were no large warships, no giant fleets. Their stations were small and practical. Their ships were fast but lightly armed. They built quietly, always improving. Systems, but never boasting. The spies reported back, "They look weak, but everything is connected. We don't understand how, but something is watching us." Orcs leaders grew more frustrated. They had crushed many civilizations in the past. Earth should have been easy. Still, they waited. A year passed, then another. Earth remained silent. In the shadows of space, human satellites shifted positions. Small stations expanded. Drones flew without signals. A web of quiet activity wrapped around the solar system. But it all looked peaceful, calm, unthreatening. To most species in the galaxy, Earth's patience looked like fear. To the Orcs, it looked like an invitation. So they planned again. This time, they would send a stronger force. 10 ships armed and ready. They would land near Neptune and take control of a small moon base there. The plan was simple. A quick show of power. No real war. Just a message. Earth must know its place. As the ships prepared, the Orcs released. No public statement. They moved quietly, thinking humans were too slow to notice. But humans noticed everything. Inside a small control room on Earth, A technician named Tomas watched the data. His screen blinked as the Carix fleet entered deep space. He did not panic. He simply pressed a button. The message went up the chain. No one shouted. No alarms rang. Earth had planned for this. In a command room deep under Antarctica, a woman named Mara stood and gave a simple order. Let them come. Activate the net. Across the solar system, hidden satellites powered on. They did not glow. They did not fire. They waited. As the Carix ships passed Saturn, their sensors began to glitch. Small errors, delays, but nothing dangerous. They moved. Closer to Neptune, preparing to land, and then they stopped. Each ship froze in space. Engines failed. Lights went out. Communication was lost. This time, the entire galaxy watched. Earth did not hide it. They broadcast the event live. Every species saw the Carix fleet stop mid-flight, stuck in the dark like toys caught in a web. A new message came from Earth, short and calm. We ask once, then we act. No more was said. The message ended. The broadcast stopped. The solar system went quiet again. In the Carix capital, leaders panicked. Their best fleet had vanished. Their scouts were lost. Drones failed to enter human space. Still, Earth made no demand, no threat, no war declaration. They simply returned to silence. Inside the Galactic Council, fear began to grow. Some wanted to investigate. Others said it was a trick. But one truth started to rise. Earth was not weak. They were waiting. And now the galaxy had noticed. The Carix Dominion was known across the stars for its pride. They had ruled with power and fear for over 400 years. Planets had fallen to their war fleets. Whole species had bowed to them without a fight. Now, something unexpected had happened. Twice they had touched human space. Twice they had lost everything. Still, the Carix leaders refused to believe they were beaten. They called the losses technical problems and blamed them on bad planning. They did not accept that Earth, a quiet, careful planet, could outmatch them. The Carix High Commander, Valen, stood before his war council with a cold stare. His voice was sharp. This is not defeat. It is delay. The humans have tricks, but no real strength. He ordered a second strike. This time, not scouts, a full battle fleet of 20 ships. Their mission was clear. Move fast. Take control of a human colony near Neptune and bring prisoners back for study. The plan was kept secret from the Galactic Concord. The Carix did not want peace. They wanted to show their strength. But Earth had eyes everywhere. In a quiet room on Mars, a scientist named Rhea monitored deep space signals. She saw a faint disturbance far beyond Saturn. It was just a flicker, a pattern too smooth to be natural. She alerted command. A quiet message passed from Mars to Earth, from Earth to Luna, from Luna to the outer stations. Each signal moved fast and silent, like threads being pulled tight. Within minutes, Earth's defense net activated again. This time, humanity did not hide it. As the Carix fleet moved past Uranus, satellites around Neptune turned toward them. Hundreds of small units, powered up. They looked like research drones, but they were more than that. They linked together, formed a web, and began sending data to Earth. The Carix ships kept moving, unaware of what waited ahead. On Earth, the World Communication Council made a decision. They would not let this attack be hidden. A signal was sent to the Concord. A live broadcast began. The message was short and simple. We are under attack. Watch. Across the galaxy, species turned their eyes to the screen. The Carix fleet entered the Neptune sector and began to slow. They prepared to land on a human moon colony named Triton Beta. Suddenly, their systems blinked. Lights dimmed. Control panels stopped working. Weapons failed to power on. One by one, The ships lost contact with each other. From the colony surface, a single drone flew upward. It was shaped like a cube, silent and smooth. It floated through the fleet without touching anything. Each ship it passed began to shut down completely. On the broadcast, silence filled the screen. The ships drifted helplessly. Then, Earth's signal returned. A voice spoke. "Calm, firm, we warned you. We ask once, then we act." The feed ended across the galaxy. The message sparked chaos. Some called it impossible. Others thought it was staged. A few older species went silent, remembering ancient warnings about humans. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, leaders gathered in confusion. They demanded answers. How could a race that showed no weapons defeat the Carix fleet twice without firing a shot? Some said Earth had old technology hidden from the Concord. Others said Earth had help from an unknown force. The Council voted to send a neutral probe to investigate Earth's space, just to observe, not to engage. The vote passed quickly. Along with the probe, a small team of investigation ships was approved. They were from different member species, not from the Carix. The goal was peace, not power. The Carix allowed it. They were angry, but stayed silent. They wanted Earth punished, but didn't want to look weak. So the probe and its support ships left conquered space and moved toward Earth's system. As they entered the edge of the solar system, something strange happened. The probe stopped sending clear signals. Its images became blurry, its data confused. The support ships followed, but their sensors picked up nothing unusual. Space looked empty, quiet, peaceful. Then one of the crew members on the lead ship screamed. Something had passed by the window. No one else saw it. Another ship reported a strange echo in the sound systems, but there was no sound in space. They turned back quickly, scared and confused. When they returned to the Council, their reports made little sense. Some crew members refused to speak. Others described feeling watched, as if something had looked into their minds. Their machines were fine, but their hearts were shaken. The Council had never seen anything like it. While the leaders argued, something even more surprising happened. A single human ship appeared outside the Galactic Council's main station. It did not approach. It did not send any message. It simply hovered at the edge of sensor range. No one could identify its type. It did not match any known Earth design. For 2 full days, the ship remained there, silent, still. Then it vanished. No lights, no flash, just gone. Inside the Council chamber, guards discovered a small device left behind. It was a smooth stone cube. It pulsed with soft light. The Council hesitated. They placed it on a table. A moment later, it activated. From the cube came a voice. Not loud, not angry, just clear. "Silence is strength. You forgot." The cube stopped glowing. Now the Council could not ignore the truth. Earth was not just another species. They were something else. Not loud, not proud, but dangerous. Because for 200 years, they had said nothing. Now they had spoken, and the galaxy had no answer. The Galactic High Council met in emergency session after the Earth incident. For the first time in years, all seats were full. Leaders from every sector had arrived, their faces filled with confusion, worry, and pride. The Carix were angry. They demanded action. "The humans are a threat. They have used unknown weapons against us." "Twice," said Commander Velen. "They did not attack first." "You crossed their space," replied a calm voice from the Veteri Alliance. "They embarrassed us," Velen snapped. The council room grew tense. Some species feared Earth. Others still believed humans were weak. The silence and strange behavior confused them. No demands had been made. No threats had followed. Earth had simply acted, then stopped. An old counselor named Saron from the Peaceful Eliari species stood up. I remember when Earth joined the Concord. They were respectful, quiet, but always watching. We never understood them. Maybe it is time we try. Valen shook his head. You are afraid. I say we investigate. If they have hidden weapons, we must know. The council voted. The result was close. A decision was made to send a diplomatic probe and a small investigation fleet. They would enter human space carefully, ask for peaceful communication, and observe. The Orcs agreed, though their real plan was different. Their investigators were trained to provoke a response. If Earth made a mistake, it would give the Orcs a reason to demand control. The probe was launched. 5 ships followed behind, each with a different species on board. They passed Pluto, moved past Neptune, and entered human space. Everything seemed calm. The planets were in orbit. Stations around the moons carried out regular tasks. Signals were open, but no one spoke. The probe reached Mars. It circled slowly, taking pictures, collecting readings. The planet had cities, but they were covered with protective domes. Machines worked in silence. People moved without fear. The technology was advanced, but it did not look like a war zone. One of the investigators, a young officer from the Mirren race, leaned forward. They are too calm. Something is not right. The probe sent its data back to the council, but halfway. Through the transmission, the signal stopped. The 5 ships tried to contact the probe. No answer. They turned back quickly, nervous. They had seen no ships, no weapons. Yet something had silenced the probe without a sound. As they left Mars' orbit, the sensors picked up a single object following them. It was not large. It did not emit light or heat. It simply moved with them. Quiet, close. The crew grew uneasy. Is it a drone? Someone asked. No. It's not sending any signal, replied the captain. The object did nothing. It floated behind the fleet for hours. When the ships left human space, it vanished. Back at the council, the fleet returned with missing data and frightened voices. They had not been harmed, but something had followed them. Something intelligent. They had no proof. Just broken recordings, confused logs, and silence. The council argued again. We must confront Earth, Veland shouted. There was no attack. Only a warning, said another leader. The council could not agree. Then something unexpected happened. Outside the council's main space station, a single human ship appeared. It did not move toward the station. It did not speak. It simply stayed there, silent, watching. Panic spread. Council guards powered up defense systems. Ships prepared to fire if needed. But the human ship did nothing. It stayed for 2 days, quiet and unmoving. Then, without warning, it vanished. No light, no sound. One moment it was there. The next it was gone. The council was confused. How did it leave without using a jump drive? No trace on sensors, no radiation. It just disappeared. Then came another surprise. Inside the council's main chamber, a guard found a small cube placed near the speaker's chair. The cube was smooth, with no wires or lights. At first, they feared it was a weapon, but when they touched it, the cube glowed faintly and began to speak. A calm voice filled the chamber. Silence is strength. You forgot. Then the cube turned cold and silent again. The message was short, but it shook the council more than any threat. Across the galaxy, leaders began to whisper. Earth had no armies marching through space. They had no loud weapons. They had no demands. But they were watching, waiting, and they had acted with precision. Some believed humans had hidden power. Others thought they had unlocked ancient technology. Some said they had help from a forgotten race. But one thing was clear. Earth was not to be ignored. Back on Earth, the human leadership remained quiet. They sent no replies. They made no public statements. In a large underground base beneath Antarctica, Commander Mara read the reports. She stood beside a large screen showing images of the probe, the fleet, and the council chamber. They are afraid. Now, said Thomas, the technician beside her. They should be, Mara replied. We did not threaten them. No. But they finally understand. She turned to her officers. Let them wonder. We are not here to rule. We are here to protect what is ours. She walked away as the lights dimmed. Back in the galaxy, things had changed. The council was now divided. Some wanted peace with Earth. Others wanted control. The Orcs, still angry, were already planning again. But now, fear filled their plans, because Earth had spoken once, and that was enough. Leon was not a soldier. She was not a leader or warrior. She was a historian from the Vedari species, a quiet and peaceful race who had always stayed out of wars. She lived on a small moon station near her homeworld and spent most of her time studying old records from across the galaxy. Her job was simple. She collected history, wrote reports, and sent them to the Concord Library. But when she heard about Earth's message and the silence that followed, something in her heart changed. She remembered the early days of the Concord. She remembered the first time Earth joined. Back then, humans had been quiet and respectful. They had asked many questions but shared little about themselves. They had offered trade and knowledge, but only in small steps. Many thought Earth was simply too new. But Leon had always felt something different, something hidden. Now, after the events with the Orcs and the probe, she decided to find the truth. She began digging into the earliest files on Earth. Old meeting logs, first contact reports, trade records, personal journals from alien diplomats who had visited Earth. At first, she found nothing special, but the deeper she looked, the more she noticed a strange pattern. Humans never showed their best, not at the start. They always presented average tools, basic tech, small ships. But when asked about their history, they avoided detail. They smiled, nodded, and kept things light. Leon found one journal from a diplomat named Alrin, who had visited Earth 50 years ago. They show simple things, but there is something behind their eyes, as if they are always testing us. Another record came from a trade captain who had visited Mars. The humans have farms on a dead planet, machines that work without noise. They fix things fast, but they never explain how. Leon's hands trembled as she read more. Earth had survived 3 global wars in the past. Their cities had been destroyed more than once, and each time they had rebuilt, faster than anyone expected, smarter than anyone imagined. She found old records of disease, collapse, and famine on Earth, and always humans had found a way to survive. Somehow they had turned every disaster into strength. Then she looked at their space travel history. They had reached their moon long before joining the Concord. Then Mars. Then Jupiter's moons. With no help from outside. Their ships were quiet but fast. Their satellites looked normal but reacted faster than any others, and they had done all this without showing power. They had stayed silent. Leon sent a private message to her government. Do not test Earth. They are not slow. They are watching. They are ready. She marked it urgent. But the message was intercepted by the Orcs. Their spies inside the Concord read it and dismissed it. They are still afraid of Earth, one of the Orcs officers said. Let them be. We will handle the humans. The Orcs High Commander had already planned his next move. This time, he did not send ships into human space. Instead, he sent them near human trade routes. 3 Orcs colonies were placed close to the path used by Earth to send supplies to nearby systems. The Orcs believed humans would stay quiet, that Earth would not dare attack outside its space. They were wrong. Within 1 week, all 3 Orcs colonies went silent. No battles, no destruction, just silence. When scouts arrived to check, they found everything empty. No life, No movement. The systems were untouched. Machines still worked. But there were no people. Just a single message on each colony's main control screen. This is your second mistake. There will not be a third. The Orcs tried to hide the event from the Concorde, but word spread, and this time, the galaxy listened. Leaders began calling emergency meetings. Messages flowed between species. Some feared war, others feared something worse. Inside the Concorde, debates raged. Earth has gone too far, said Valen. They are defending their routes, replied another. They are using silent weapons. We do not understand them. They should be stopped. No, they should be heard. Earth, again, said nothing. No apology, no threat, no demands. They returned to work. Their trade ships moved as usual. Their colonies continued to grow. Their silence became heavier, and that silence spoke louder than any war. On a peaceful planet in the Outer Rim, a young alien student watched the events unfold on a holoscreen. She asked her teacher, "Why is everyone afraid of Earth?" The teacher replied, "Because Earth remembers what others forget." What do they remember? The teacher looked at the sky. How to be patient, and how to finish what they start. Back. On Earth, in a control room deep under Luna's surface, Commander Mara stood with her officers. They placed colonies near our routes. They thought we would stay quiet. They believed silence meant fear, Tomas replied. They still don't. Understand. She looked at the screen showing the quiet Orcs colonies. We will not explain ourselves. Let the galaxy think. Let them wonder. Thomas asked, "Do we expect retaliation?" Mara shook her head. Not yet. Right now, they are still guessing. And across the galaxy, fear began to take root, not because of Earth's ships, not because of its weapons, but because no one knew how much Earth was still hiding and what they would do next. The Orcs' dominion was silent for 3 days after their colonies vanished. Their leaders held meetings behind closed doors. They argued, blamed each other, and reviewed every report. Some believed Earth had taken the colonies by force. Others said Earth had simply shut them down using unknown tech. No one had seen an attack. No one had seen Earth's ships. Still, 3 colonies were gone. High Commander Valen stood before his war council. His voice was cold and sharp. We will no longer. Wait, this ends now. We send the Grand Fleet. Across Orc space, thousands of ships prepared for launch. The Grand Fleet had never been fully used before. It was made to crush worlds. 10,000 ships, loaded with weapons, drones, and soldiers. Their target was Earth. Their mission was clear. Bring humanity to its knees. The fleet moved fast, but Earth knew they were coming. Human sensors picked up the early signs near the edge of the solar system. Small probes detected movement in deep space. The pattern was clear. 10,000 ships, heading straight for Sol. On Earth, in the main defense center, Commander Mara stood, with her officers. She looked at the numbers on the screen and stayed calm. They are testing us again, she said. They bring their largest force, said Tomas. We will not meet them with war. We will meet them with truth. Earth did not raise shields. They did not launch a fleet. Instead, they prepared something else. A message. While the Orcs fleet approached the edge of the solar system, a single human diplomat left Earth. His name was Bren. He had no rank in the military. He carried no weapons. But he knew what to say. Bren traveled alone in a small black ship. It moved through space without noise. The Orc scanners picked it up, but they could not lock on to it. It was not a threat. It was not a fighter. It was just a messenger. As the Grand Fleet entered the Sol Gate, they saw a message begin to broadcast. The voice was calm and steady. It was Bren. For 200 years we listened. We followed your laws. We signed your treaties. We watched how you treated each other and how you treated us. The broadcast was sent across every channel, not just to the Orcs, but to the entire Concord. We learned your weapons, your politics, your fear, and we stayed quiet. The screen changed. It showed maps of Earth's colonies, their trade routes, their tech. Then it showed images from the past, old wars, ruins rebuilt, cities rising from ashes. We saw what you call strength. We saw how easily you destroy, so we built something different. Bren stood before the camera, wearing no armor, no medals, just a simple suit. And we smiled, because we knew. The screen went dark. At that exact moment, Earth activated the defense net. It did not fire. It did not blast. Instead, it reached. Across the system, hidden satellites powered on. A wave of silent pulses spread through space. The Orcs ships began to lose control. Not all at once, just one at a time. Engines stopped. Lights dimmed. Weapons failed to respond. The fleet floated in place. No damage, no smoke, just stillness. The Orcs officers shouted. They tried to reset their systems. Nothing worked. Back on Earth, Mara watched in silence. "They are in our net," Tomas said. "They are trapped," Mara replied. But Earth did not destroy them. Instead, a second broadcast began. This time, from every human colony, screens lit up across the galaxy. Young human children in Mars classrooms, engineers repairing stations around Jupiter, farmers growing crops on Saturn's moons, scientists studying ice on Pluto. They all spoke one line, over and over. "You mocked our patience, now hear our silence." The message played again and again, not with anger, but with certainty. Across the galaxy, people watched. Leaders stared at the screens, soldiers paused, civilians listened. They had seen many wars, many invasions, but never a warning like this. The Orcs fleet could do nothing. They were not under attack. They were not harmed, but they were completely helpless. The Concord Council met again, this time in full. The speaker stood before them with shaking hands. "We must understand this. Earth has shown no aggression, but they have made something none of us can stop. Some wanted to punish Earth. Others wanted to praise them. A few wanted to surrender before anything worse happened. But no one moved, because no one knew what Earth would do next." Bren returned to Earth. He stepped out of his ship and nodded to Commander Mara. They heard it. She nodded back. "Good," Tomas asked. "Will they respond with war?" "They will not. Not yet. Now they are unsure." Mara looked at the stars above the screen. "Let them think. Let them talk. We have shown them the truth. Back in Orcs. Space." Valen slammed his fist on the table. "Recall the fleet. Now." His officers obeyed without question. 10,000 ships turned around, defeated without a single shot. Across the galaxy, people began to speak about Earth in a new way. Not as weak, not as quiet, but as something more, a force that waited, watched, and only spoke when it mattered most. The Orcs' Grand Fleet returned home in silence. It was the first time in history they had failed a mission without a single fight. Their ships were untouched, but their pride was broken. 10,000 warships had been stopped by invisible hands. Not one shot was fired. Not one order was followed. The Orcs leaders tried to hide the truth, but the galaxy had already seen everything. Bren's message, the frozen fleet, the calm silence that followed. On every world, people were asking the same question. What is Earth? The Galactic Council was flooded with requests. Some wanted a full investigation. Others asked for peaceful talks. Many feared a secret takeover, but there was no proof that Earth wanted war. No territory had been claimed. No lives had been taken. Instead, something else happened. Across the stars, dozens of smaller species began to speak up. Races that had never been part of war. Civilizations that had lived in the shadows of empires. For years, they had received: quiet help from Earth, clean water systems, medical supplies, solar farms, language tools, all sent with no demands, no conditions, no promises of alliance. Now, they stepped forward and told their stories. A desert planet named Faerun shared how a human engineer fixed their wind towers. A farming moon called Nara showed how human drones taught them to grow food during a long drought. A station on the edge of the Void sector revealed a signal device sent by Earth that had saved them from a deadly radiation storm. These stories poured in, one by one, day after day, each story different, but all with one thing in common. Earth had helped them quietly. Now they stood beside Earth. They sent open messages to the Galactic Council. If Earth falls, we fall with them. We were saved by the ones you ignored. We choose silence over fear. The Council could no longer deny it. Earth had not built an army. Earth had built a network, not of warships, but of respect, not of soldiers, but of trust. Inside the Concorde's main chamber, the leader sat without speaking for a long time. Finally, Counselor Saron broke the silence. Earth never needed to shout. They chose not to. Another replied, "What do we do now?" And the answer came not from Earth, but from the people. Across hundreds of systems, citizens held small gatherings. They lit lanterns. They played old Earth music. Some even painted stars in the sky to show their support. Human culture, once ignored, now became a symbol of calm strength. Back on Earth, Commander Mara stood on a platform overlooking the Pacific Defense Center. She watched as new signals came in, messages from all corners of the galaxy, offers of friendship, requests for understanding. Beside her, Thomas smiled. "They see us now." Mara nodded. "But what do they really see? They see what we always were. We just never said it." On Luna, Bren walked through the halls of the diplomatic dome. He met with leaders from species who had once feared Earth. Now they came with open hands, no deals, just respect. Bren greeted each one with the same words: "Peace is not weakness. It is a choice." The message spread across the stars, but not everyone was pleased. Inside the Carrick's dominion, High Commander Valen faced a divided council. Some demanded war, others feared another loss. A few now questioned the path the Dominion had followed for centuries. One of the young officers spoke with clear words. "We tried to crush them. They stood without fighting," Valen growled. "They tricked us. No, they warned us." The room fell silent. In the days that followed, the Carricks pulled their ships back from all borders. They closed outer colonies and returned to core worlds. Their messages to the Concorde became formal and quiet. The war had ended before it began, and Earth had not claimed a single planet. Instead, they opened their channels. Earth began sharing parts of its technology. Not weapons, but knowledge, education, power systems, medical tools, transport designs. But they shared one rule with everything: use it for peace. If you turn it into war, we will disappear again, and next time, you will not find us. It was not a threat. It was a promise. The galaxy believed them, because Earth had shown what few ever could. They had the power to break empires, and they chose not to. Instead of leading with fear, they stood with silence. Instead of shouting, they whispered, and the whole galaxy had listened. No shots were fired. No soldiers had died. But the galaxy had changed forever. Earth became a quiet center of attention. No one could understand how one planet, once called primitive, had created such strength without building an empire. Their weapons were never shown. Their armies were never seen. Yet everyone now feared their silence more than any war machine. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, leaders from across the stars met once again. The topic was Earth. The mood was respectful, some even nervous. Counselor Saran stood and addressed. The chamber We must decide. Do we invite Earth into the high seat? The high seat was a position of power only held by the oldest and mightiest civilizations. Earth had never been considered for it before. A few voices objected, they broke protocol. They built secret networks. They embarrassed the Carracks. But others spoke firmly. They stopped a war. They earned trust from dozens of small worlds. They gave more than they took. Then came the final vote. The decision was made. Earth was offered. The high seat back on Earth. The news reached the Pacific Defense Center Commander Mara read the message twice. Then she looked at Thomas and smiled for the first time in many days. They finally understand. Thomas nodded. Do we accept? Mara walked toward the large glass window that overlooked the sea. We accept, but not with pride. We accept with purpose. Across the planet, people celebrated in quiet ways. There were no grand parades, no loud speeches, just families watching the stars, children learning alien languages, engineers preparing peaceful tools to share on Luna. Bren met with his team of diplomats. He carried with him the signed offer from the council. But he also brought something else, a new message. It was not a warning. It was an invitation across the stars. That message was sent to every system, every race, every station, and colony. It was simple and calm. Come to Earth. Speak with us. Walk beside us. Not behind. Not below. Beside. And they came, delegates from old empires, scientists from remote outposts, artists from floating cities, farmers from far moons. They all came to Earth, not as rulers, but as equals. In the deserts of Mars, human and alien researchers worked side by side to clean water sources. On Europa, human engineers taught a species of ice dwellers how to build warmth into their homes. On a trade hub near Sirius, a group of human students shared stories with children from 10 different planets. For the first time, peace did not feel forced. It felt real. Even the Carracks, once enemies, now watched from a distance. Some among them wanted revenge. Others, especially the younger ones, wanted to learn Velen. The old war commander retired quietly. His replacement, a younger leader named Rel, sent a message to Earth. We will not forget what happened, but we want to understand how you did. It. Earth replied with one sentence, by choosing patience over pride. The galaxy slowly began to heal, old conflicts faded, trade routes reopened, cultures blended, music, food, games, and language flowed across systems. Human songs were heard. In alien markets, alien art was painted on Earth. Buildings' new holidays were created that mixed the best of all worlds. But Earth never asked for control. They did not want to rule. They only wanted balance. In the Concord Archive, a new chapter was written. The Rise of Earth, a lesson in quiet power. That title was read by future generations. Not because it described a war, but because it showed another way. And those who doubted Earth slowly began to see the truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had only waited. Waited until the time was right. Waited until the galaxy was ready to listen. Waited until patience became the strongest voice in the room years later. At a peaceful gathering held on a floating station between stars, Commander Mara gave a short speech. She stood before hundreds of beings from different species. Her voice was calm, steady, and clear. We never wanted to rise above anyone. We just wanted to rise with you. A long silence followed. Then applause from every corner. Bren, now older, stood beside her. He looked up at the stars one last time and whispered to himself, "You mistook our silence for fear. But silence was our answer. Now you know." The galaxy moved forward, not with loud steps, but with shared ones, and Earth, once ignored, now walked at the center, not because they conquered, but because they showed another way, a way of strength without, shouting of warning without violence, of power without pride, and that became the day the galaxy truly changed forever.